A faint point of light is already moving through the solar system when astronomers notice it. Telescopes track it across the sky, and each new observation confirms the same thing. The object is not sitting still. It is passing through. At first, that sounds routine. Small objects are discovered all the time. Another entry for a catalogue, another visitor from the distant outskirts of the solar system. But the numbers refuse to fit that expectation. As researchers calculate its path, the track stretching behind it points somewhere unexpected. The route does not lead back to any known local source. The object is moving through the solar system, yet its trajectory does not behave like something that began its journey here. That changes the situation immediately. This is no longer a matter of identifying another asteroid. If the calculations are correct, the object has already crossed into the solar system from somewhere beyond it. Even more unsettling, it is already on its way out. The object remains visible. The origin does not. And proving where that journey truly began becomes the next challenge. The calculations continue. Each new observation extends the object's path a little farther backward and a little farther forward. What looked unusual now becomes difficult to explain away. A normal solar system object eventually comes back. This one does not. The path does not point toward a future return. It points toward an exit. Plot the path on a chart and it does not loop back toward the sun. It arrives, swings through the solar system, and continues outward again. The calculations point to a hyperbolic trajectory, a route that cannot be explained as a normal solar system orbit. That removes the safest possibility. The object is no longer a local body behaving in an unexpected way. The numbers keep forcing the same conclusion. It came from outside the solar system, and it is already leaving. The practical consequences appear immediately. There is no opportunity to wait for better instruments, no chance to revisit it years later. With every passing day, the object moves farther away, grows fainter, and becomes harder to study. The investigation changes almost overnight. Researchers stop trying to prove whether it originated around another star. The trajectory has already answered that question. Now, the race is against time. A visitor from another star system is passing through the solar system for the first and possibly only time anyone can observe it. The challenge is no longer identification. The challenge is learning what it is before it disappears forever. The investigation now has a deadline. Not because funding might run out, not because the telescopes might fail, because the target is already escaping. For the first time, the mystery appears to be shrinking. That is exactly what everyone wanted. Each new observation seems to make the situation simpler. The object keeps fitting explanations that already exist. The need for a completely new answer begins to fade. Nothing immediately suggests a completely unknown class of object. Instead, the evidence appears capable of fitting categories that already exist. That matters. An interstellar visitor is remarkable. An interstellar visitor that behaves like a comet or asteroid is manageable. The object may have come from another star. It may still follow familiar rules. The observations seem to support that possibility. New observations keep arriving. None of them force a new explanation. The object continues looking less like a cosmic mystery and more like a familiar object that simply formed around a different star. For a moment, the mystery appears to narrow. The origin is extraordinary. The object itself may not be. The mystery has not disappeared. It has become manageable. That feels like progress. And if that interpretation is correct, future observations should continue strengthening the same explanation. The comfortable explanation does not fail all at once. It weakens observation by observation. As the object continues moving away from the sun, telescopes remain fixed on it. Researchers keep comparing new measurements against the picture that seemed to be taking shape. A natural interstellar body still appears to fit some of the evidence, but not all of it. Certain signatures expected from a straightforward comet remain difficult to find. The object continues behaving like something familiar in several ways, yet other observations refuse to settle into the same category. That creates a growing problem. The explanation had done something important. It had made the object feel familiar. Now that familiarity starts breaking apart. Then, the explanation encounters its first real problem. The object keeps moving. The prediction keeps updating. And the two stop matching perfectly. At first, the difference is small enough to dismiss. Then, the discrepancy survives every recalculation. The object is moving away from the sun, yet it appears to be leaving slightly faster than expected. Not enough to erase everything that came before, not enough to prove an extraordinary conclusion, but enough to damage confidence. The object no longer fits comfortably anywhere. The object is not behaving cleanly like an asteroid. It is not behaving cleanly like a comet. Evidence continues supporting familiar explanations while simultaneously putting pressure on them. And with the object growing fainter every day, the most important uncertainty remains unresolved. The observations are accumulating. The time to interpret them is disappearing. The object keeps moving. Every week it grows fainter. Every week the distance increases. Telescopes collect what they can, then watch the target shrink into darkness. There is no second pass. The trajectory that made the object so important also guarantees its departure. It is already leaving the solar system forever. That changes the meaning of everything collected during those brief months of observation. Each image, each measurement, each calculation stops being preliminary evidence waiting for future confirmation. Those records become the evidence. They are the material future researchers will return to because the object itself is gone. The limitation is not a lack of instruments. The limitation is that the opportunity arrived before anyone knew how rare it was. Humanity's first confirmed encounter with an interstellar visitor happened while the object was already passing through. By the time its significance became clear, part of the observation window had already disappeared behind it. The uncertainty remains because the evidence remains limited. Not because nobody looked, not because technology failed. The object appeared, crossed the solar system, and continued on its way. What remains is not the visitor itself, only the observations. Humanity's first confirmed interstellar visitor arrived, became important, and then disappeared. The questions remained. The object did not.